I haven't done a video on this in a long time, so for all the new subscribers who didn't know, I am an atheist. And a question that atheists get asked very often, especially by Christians, accompanied by varying levels of snarkiness, is if there's no God, then what is the basis for morality? How do you know what is good and what is bad? Now, before I attempt to respond to that, I want to take a closer look at that question. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to imply that if morality does exist, then God or religion or something like that must be the author of that morality. So for the purpose of the video, let's think of something that's immoral. How about murder? Can we agree that murdering people is a bad thing to do? I sure hope so. So God was the guy that was like, don't murder people, bro. Yet motherfuckers murder in the name of God all the damn time. And you may say, well, yeah, but they're doing it wrong. They're not actually doing what he said. But how come they don't know that? They're reading the same books and attending the same sermons that you are. And frankly, I've read some of these books. I can see where they're getting the ideas from. The point is, if religion is the guidebook for morality, it's a very bad one. It's very unclear. And you know what? You could almost say that the sheer amount of shitheads in the world is in of itself proof of God. Because a bunch of shitty, terrible people running around everywhere might be the result of a God who was really bad at telling people what to do. But of course, most people don't think that God is inept, so I guess not. Secondly, why did God decide that murder was bad and not good? If God had good reasons to make certain things good and certain things bad, shouldn't we be able to halfway understand those reasons? And if there are reasons, shouldn't those reasons be able to stand on their own regardless of who's the one dictating it to you? Like when I was a kid, my mom told me to brush my teeth. And I still brush my teeth, but not because my mom told me to a long time ago, but because there are actual reasons to do that still hold up. Was it just an arbitrary choice to add murder to the bad list? Or is that just another one of those mysterious things that we'll never know? And keep in mind, I say this half-heartedly because there's a shit ton of God-sanctioned murder in the holy books of most of the world's major religions, but I digress. Could theoretically God have decided that murder was good and that it was our duty to murder people as much as possible, and today we just be murdering people all the time? Well, I don't think so. And I think that's exactly why people tend to ignore all the crazy shit in the Bible and the Quran, because we know that shit isn't cool. There's lots of examples in both the Bible and the Quran of God-approved murder, God-approved rape, and God-approved slavery. But we still know that murder, rape, and slavery aren't cool, even though at one point or another, according to these books, God was clearly okay with it. So if it is indeed immoral to murder and rape people, that dude is obviously not the guy who came up with that rule. Now perhaps you're not a Jew or a Christian or a Muslim and you propose a convenient God that just happens to be in favor of everything we think is good, simply because you think objective morals imply the existence of some kind of God. Now I will probably concede that if you're talking about a two-column list of what to do and what not to do, that would probably imply an author of those lists. But I don't think that's how the world works, and I don't think most people live as if that's how the world works. In fact, the people that do are usually considered assholes. For example, there are people that think it's immoral to have an abortion, and obviously they think God is the author of that rule. But obviously not everybody agrees with that, including people of the same religion as them. Is abortion on the okay list or the not okay list? Religion is really bad at answering those kinds of questions because the world is not black or white like that. And I know I mentioned murder as something that we could agree was immoral, but could you conceive of a situation in which it was necessary or understandable to murder somebody? Without getting into too much detail, you probably could. I think morality is largely contrived. Whether or not abortion or jaywalking or cannibalism or swearing or any of those things is immoral is largely dependent on the culture and society. But there do seem to be some concepts that we agree on across cultures and across societies. Being honest, for example. There are a lot of assholes in the world, but it seems like everyone agrees that being honest is a good thing. Is that because someone instructed us to be honest? I think that morality is based in part in our biological survival instincts, but that doesn't really work here because there are situations in which being dishonest could benefit you and the people around you. But I think for most people in those situations, it would still feel wrong, even if it was necessary. Why is that? Well, I think it's because of empathy. I've mentioned before that I think people have the propensity to be selfish and petty, but I think that everybody wants to be happy. And I think that deep down we understand that happiness at the expense of other people isn't really happiness. Whether or not we actually practice that is a different story, but I think that's why dishonesty feels wrong even if it's necessary. It's the same reason why when we like cuss somebody out at work, we have to make an excuse like, oh, I was having a bad day. Just because we know know that that's not normally a good thing to do. We just know it. We don't have to be told it. We know it. We feel it. We want to be happy, and we want everybody else to be happy because that makes us the happiest. Now, can we ignore this and pursue selfish goals? Well, of course, just like religious people can do shitty things in the name of God. But this question has always baffled me because even when I was a Christian, I never had to go flip through the Bible to check and see if it was okay to be nice to people or tell the truth. I just knew it. And if the commandments of some higher power is the only thing keeping you from murdering and raping people, then I'm a little bit disturbed by you. I'm not gonna lie. That's just me though. What should the next video be about? Drop a comment. I want to give a shout out to all the new subscribers. How you doing? Please press the like button. Subscribe if you like my hair. Holla.